Just over a mile in length, New Hampshire Motor Speedway's oval is a classic paperclip design with long straightaways and tight, flat corners. Not surprisingly, the track rewards cars that have plenty of power out of the turns and brakes capable of getting things slowed down at the end of the straights. Not to mention drivers who can baby those brakes from start to finish. Hosting a full slate of NASCAR competition, including the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR Xfinity Series, Craftsman Trucks, ARCA Menards, and NASCAR Wayland Modifieds, as well as a variety of SCCA and vintage sports car events, as well as motorcycle races. But tonight, it's race number 3 of the ProSim Racing Alliance, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway for race number 3 of the ProSim Racing Alliance season here at New Hampshire course. 1 mile length, race details 150 laps. The distance, track temperature 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers working with a full fuel load tonight. Unlimited tire sets, no fast repairs, and 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if it comes down to it. Practice just about wrapped up here from the Speedway. Let's take a look at those top times so far. So far, top of the board is the one of Derek Welch. Welch out there in that Davidson Builders Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Bobby Hamilton Jr., A.J. Rogers, Steve Whitmore, Vincent Short, the top 5. And just a couple of minutes left in the session. We'll jump right into qualifying. Qualifying session will be 2 laps or 5 minutes, whichever is completed first. Strong field here tonight. Looks like 23 trucks to set the field this evening. Welch's first or fast lap here, 30.449. Full 0.6 plus. Faster than the second place machine of Bobby Jr. So just about a minute left in the session. We're having a little bit of a camera issue here. We're going to take a very brief break. Should have it squared before we get back for qualifying, but stay with us. We'll be right back after this. Back at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, got the camera situation all squared away. Sorry about that, but not a whole lot missed. We're here in time for qualifying to get underway. The session officially has begun. We'll see who takes to the track first. Set the field. Looks like Steve Whitmore may be first to roll. We'll check on driver the number 70, Ford F-150. While qualifying continues, I know many of you may be seeing some different branding here with HBR TV. Things have progressed a bit over the years, and this broadcast this evening will be our last, at least, under the HBR TV banner. Of course, the channel name just going to change a bit. We're going to still stick to broadcasting. It's still going to be myself up here in the broadcast booth with just some different logos out there, some rebranding in store for 2025. But nice that this has kind of come full circle, as this league, as it is the ProSim Racing Alliance now, it didn't really start out that way. It was a different league back in its heyday. Still run by guys like David Bradford and Bobby Hamilton Jr., but that's where HBR TV really got its start. First live broadcast was with these guys, and fitting that the final broadcast will also be here with now the ProSim Racing Alliance. First lap for Whitmore, a 31.013, puts him second on the board, the 46 of Will Jones. There's an old familiar name, 30.818 for Will. He puts it on pole for now. Watch Will out of turn 4 here, see if he picks it up on lap 2. He does, not a lot, but enough. 30.086 for Will Jones, keeps it top of the board for now. Bobby Jr. finishes up, he's fourth quick, 31.034. Eddie Rose, the Track Bar Media Chevrolet, 32.2 on his first lap. Rose across the stripe, lap 2 in the books. Slows down a bit, 31.851. Derek Welch, fastest in practice, likely to be a threat for the pole, but I don't know if he can match that time that Jones put down. We'll see if he can do it. Off turn 4. Welch across the stripe, first lap, 30.800. He's close, but Rogers in the 57 now knocks off the top spot. 30.724 the first lap for Rogers. We'll see if Welch can do anything with that. Couple of stream chatters already. Lori Vaught from the VRL saying hey, and then we got that S4 guy, Zach Millett. Says, I'm at the lobster roll tent. You want one? I'm like, grab me 3. Welch finishes up with a 9.39, second quick for the time being. Keenan Kimber out of Elkin, North Carolina, 30.933, fifth quick the first lap. About a minute and a half left of the session. And a slowdown for Kimber, 31.057. Chris Klein in the snap-on number 51 Toyota Tundra. Top time so far is still the 57 of Rogers, 30.724. Klein loses it into turn 1, drifts it in the middle of the corner, keeps it out of the wall, but that's going to kill his effort. Klein's going to sit on a 31.474 for the time being. Again, with less than a minute left in this session, I don't know if he's going to get another lap. Looks like he is not. Handful of drivers not taking a time. Josh Ingram, Chris Hockley, Matt Nicholson, David Bradford, surprisingly, and Peyton Wagoner. No official time of record to this point. Likely going to be the story to start this race with 30 seconds left in the session. So that'll do it for qualifying. Keep a close eye here and see if anybody does jump back out. But again, with just 15 seconds, no one's going to get enough time on track to complete a timed lap. First broadcast on the recently updated scan of New Hampshire Motor Speedway with iRacing, looking pretty sharp out there. With that, session is complete. We're going to jump right into our starting grid. So let's take a look at it. On the pole position in the number 57 Stinger Motorsports entry with a lap time of 30.724. It's AJ Rogers outside front row. From Numb Thumbs Racing, the number one, missed it by 76 thousandths of a second. It's Derek Welch. Outside, front row, it's the 46 from Bradford Aero Works. It's Will Jones. Steve Whitmore in the 70 will start fourth. Keenan Kimber in the fifth spot. Dominic Bettini, the number 49 from BKR, will start sixth. Seventh starter Frank Griffith in the 54 with Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the number 25, starting eighth. Rodney Roberts in the number 9 from Backwoods Bandits Racing will start ninth. Mark Truxell will be to his right elbow. 11th starter, it's Vincent Short in the 15 from Track Bar Motorsports with Jason Steptoe in the 50, starting 12th. 13th starter is Aaron Longworth. 14th goes to the 02 of Thomas McMullen. Alan DeFries, the 71, starts 15th with Chris Klein starting 16th. 17th starter, it's Albert Anderson. 18th belongs to Eddie Rose. Chris Hockley in the 3 will start 19th. David Bradford not taking a time in qualifying to start 20th. Will Hewitt in the 21st spot. 22nd starter is Peyton Wagoner in the 8. 23rd, Matt Nicholson. And last but not least, in 24th, it's the number 56 of Josh Ingram. Your starting grid here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Field parked here on the front stretch in grid formation. Be one parade lap, and we'll be green that next time by. Don't go anywhere, will not be long. Short flight around New Hampshire Motor Speedway in our drone. And pace car and the rest of the field about to roll off. There they go. Again, taking a look at the race details tonight, 150 laps the race distance, a full load of fuel at 100%, unlimited tire sets, no fast repairs, 3 attempts at a green, white checkered finish if it comes down to it. We'll talk about what that means if it comes to that. Get into the minutia of it at this point. Field down the back straightaway here behind the iRacing pace car. Half a lap away, half a mile away from green flag action. Pace car is in, green flag in the air. We're racing from New Hampshire. Field clean through turns 1 and 2, down the back straightaway to turn 3 for the first time. Rogers down into the corner, the outside of Will Jones, looking for the spot. Rogers jumps up the racetrack to close the door out of turn 4, coming to finish lap number 1. One car loose out of turn number 4. Is it? Guess I don't know who it is. Alan DeFries. Alan DeFries spinning off turn number 4 down into pit lane. Just a quick spin, no caution to speak of. The race continues. Meanwhile, battle for the race lead between Rogers and Will Jones. The top 2 starting to separate from Derek Welch just a little bit. Oh, trouble off turn number 2. We got trucks coming around. The yellow flag is out. The 51 of Klein, Will Hewitt looks to be both involved in this. Doesn't appear to have any significant damage by any means, but 2 trucks at minimum go around, now driving away from the scene. They'll maintain their position on the lead lap. First caution just like that. 4 laps in. Let's take a look at it. Klein was at the bottom of the racetrack. Just kind of minding his own business there, and he got caught up in it. We'll try and get a better angle on it. So watch the 8 machine up top. That's Peyton Wagoner. Klein was slow in the bottom of the racetrack, coming up just a bit. Everybody was trying to give room, but Wagoner gets the outside wall, which punts him back down into the 33 of Will Hewitt, which chain reaction sends him into the 51 of Klein. Just like that, we got some pit stops already underway. Mark Truxell, David Bradford, Chris Hockley, Will Hewitt, Chris Klein, Alan DeFries. DeFries still in the pits from that lap 1 incident. Now, the fuel window tonight expected to be between 70 and 80 laps. So that's some of the reporting we're getting pre-race. We'll have to see how that plays out. Again, this caution is going to add some laps to that overall window, but we'll have to watch these guys that made these pit stops. Bradford, Hewitt, Klein, and so on. Of course, they've topped off the tank. And we're expecting a stage break lap 35. So planned caution, a competition caution. One driver blinking out, losing a bit of an internet connection issue there. Keep an eye on that as it progresses. Lights on the pace car are out, so that indicates 1 to go to green. It's about a half lap away, a little more. At this point, looks like Alan DeFries may be the only truck out of this race at this point. Again, having some bad luck to start this one off. Spun it sideways off of 4 and just drove it right to his pit stall and has parked it since. Pace car is in.
Green flag, green flag, green flag.
Green flag back in the air. Rogers leads them back down into turn number 1. Close pursuit is the 46 of Jones. Welch and Whitmore side by side for the 3rd spot. Welch takes it in 1 car in the wall. Looks like Will Jones. Truck of Will Jones catching the wall off turn number 2. Again, keeps his foot down. Doesn't lose position, just a little bit of track position off the 57, but keeps it going. Car loose off turn number 2 again. We got trouble. 1 car going backwards. It's the 42 of Aaron Longworth. That may have been the truck that actually got spun. I don't know if anybody collected him. If that is the case, talk about miraculous. Appears Chris Klein may have been involved in this one again. Tough night so far for the 51. See if we can catch this. We saw it in that static camera for a moment. Watch the credit one, number 42. Oh, it wasn't initially him. He got collected as the 99 got loose and out of shape. Process of saving it, comes down and clips the 42. Albert Anderson driving that number 9 Fastenal machine. It says Chris Klein had another incident. Let's see if that was related to this or not. Klein a little bit out of the groove there off turn 2. Yeah, he got crossed up as well. I don't think that was avoidance. I think that was just trouble getting out of the corner. Does Klein get the wall here? Oh, yeah. It's a big piece with the left front. So some more drivers on pit lane here. Albert Anderson, Matt Nicholson, Chris Klein, Aaron Longworth. Klein's going to change some tires. Again, anytime you hit pit road here, unless you're really trying to work a strategy, I can't imagine a disadvantage to putting tires on as they have unlimited sets here at New Hampshire. No real strategy to be concerned with unless you're just trying to save some time in the box. So once again, back out front, set up for another restart. Second restart of the day. Pace car lights are out. Field working on a turn number 2. Let's try it again. Pace car back in pit lane. Rogers going to bring him up to speed. Jones to the outside. Good jump for the 57. Will Jones just has to react. Meanwhile, through all these cautions, Bobby Hamilton Jr. working his way up through the field. Now to the third spot, 5 positions gained, but Derek Welch going to try to battle back to the inside. Off turn number 2, the 25 of Hamilton Jr. still up the racetrack. Welch to the inside. Will he dive it down into 3 or let the 25 go? He lets him go. Back on the attack, Welch looking to the inside. Nothing doing there. Oh, Hamilton Jr. gets the wall. Off turn number 4 yet again. That seems to be the hot button corner right now. Hamilton back still to the outside of Welch. Welch not giving up the pursuit. Meanwhile, out front, still Rogers and Will Jones, but Jones to the inside, looking for the race lead off turn 4. Rogers barely misses the safer barrier off turn 4. Jones applying pressure now, going to take a peek to the inside in turn number 1. Jones is going to take the lead. Rogers may let him go here. Middle of 1 and 2. Pass complete. New leader, lap 14. It's Will Jones.
Caution.
And the caution's out yet again.
Did you hear any static?
Some trouble there. The 9 of Rodney Roberts is around, facing certainly the wrong way. Roberts getting righted here. Now let's take a look. 54, does he make some contact here with the 9? Just enough. So Frank Griffith getting into the 9 of Roberts. A little overcorrect going up the racetrack. Roberts smacks the outside wall in turn number 2. And we did see some smoke pouring out of that machine as he drove away from the scene. So that could be a terminal issue for the 9. We'll see. Looks like Keenan Kimber may have had an issue out there as well. Let's take a look what the 65 had going on. That may have just been a connection issue that triggered that. That's not a connection issue. That's the 65 losing it, locking it up. Very similar to what Chris Klein did not that long ago. Smacks the left front to the inside wall. He's going to have some work to do. Roberts pulls in his pit stall. Again, smoke still coming out of that machine. He's going to be there for a bit. So back to the race leaders here. Rogers still out in front. Jones got the lead, but opted to hit pit lane, so Will Jones is going to restart about 17th. New front row is going to be Rogers and Bobby Hamilton Jr. Lights are out on the pace car. It's going to double up here. Rogers will take the inside yet again. Still 21 trucks on the lead lap. Let's get ready for the restart.
Green flag.
Green flag back in the air. Rogers on the gas. Real wide out of turn number 2. Eddie Rose might have pancaked the right side. Continues on. Still back out front. Bobby Jr. goes to the inside, looking for position. The race lead here on AJ Rogers. Rogers way up the racetrack yet again off turn number 4. These guys are utilizing every inch of this racetrack. On board with Bobby Jr., looking for the race lead. Sounded like Bobby grabbed a gear there in the middle of 3 and 4, dropping it into 3rd. Will Jones continues to press through the field here. Remember, made a pit stop during one of those cautions recently. Was up near the front, battling for the race lead. He's back to, I think, 17th position, now running in the 12th spot. Alongside Albert Anderson. Anderson also with a bit of a recovery. Will Jones continuing to knife his way through, takes another spot now from the 3 of Christopher Hockley. Sets his sights now on Vincent Short and David Bradford. Bradford likely to get a little wider berth here from the 46. These two drivers are teammates. David and Will on different tire strategies, though. David came down lap 4. Will Jones, lap 15. Bradford now side by side with Short, tucked in behind the 0-2 with Thomas McMullen into turn number 1. You can really see the difference in fresher tires as they go 3 wide. Will Jones to the bottom of the racetrack, able to cut that truck hard left to get alongside the 15 on corner exit. Puts the power down. He may have this pass complete by turn 3. He does. Drives it in way deep. May slide up a groove, or does he? No, he sticks it to the racetrack. Now alongside teammate David Bradford. Oh, one truck in the wall off turn 4 yet again. Might have been Frank Griffith. Indeed it was. Pretty significant hit. Hopefully didn't hurt that truck too terribly bad. Remember, folks, we still do have a comp caution, a stage break here coming at lap 35. And Bobby Hamilton Jr. with an issue. Slow on the back straightaway for the 25.
There will be a caution.
Caution comes out. I don't see any damage to the 25. This may be a hardware issue for the 25. Let's see if it comes up, or that's just him coming to a stop to put us under yellow. Indeed, that was the case. So, yes, the cautions come out. Bobby Jr., who was running in the second spot at the time, having some sort of issue on the backstretch. .26 laps complete. Working our 4th caution. Rogers has been the dominant truck so far. Welch now up to 2nd. Dominic Bettini in 3rd. Will Hewitt now 4th. Frank Griffith to 5th. As they run with 26 laps in the books. So once again, some varying strategies. We do have some trucks on pit lane. Frank Griffith out of the top 5, then Jason Steptoe, Aaron Longworth, Albert Anderson, Eddie Rose, Josh Ingram. All visiting pit lane yet again. It's not necessarily a bad call, I think, here for Frank Griffith. Yeah, he lost 10 spots making the pit stop, but he apparently took tires, a 17-second plus stop, so maybe a little bit of repair after that impact with the outside wall. But truthfully, not terrible track position. He's going to be out there on fresh tires. Doesn't appear anybody in front of him is going to have a tire advantage. I think the next closest driver made their stop at lap 15. That would be Keenan Kimber, Mark Truxell, and Steve Whitmore. But it's plain to see right now the 57 is going to be the truck to beat, at least for now. Front row will be Rogers, Derek Welch to the outside, and the number 1 Davidson Builders machine. Row 2 is Bettini and Hewitt. Hewitt in the number 33, Bettini in the 59. Pace car is in.
Green flag.
Rogers hammers the gas, gets gone. Welch with pressure from the 59, and he gets into him. Sends him up the racetrack. Welch trying to save it. Will Jones gets alongside. A masterful save by Derek Welch. Loses a ton of spots, but keeps it out of the wall. Dominic Bettini making contact. He's listed as the 49 in your timing and scoring, showing with a 59 on the door, so just keep that in mind. Bettini definitely making contact with Derek Welch on the restart. Let's go back and take another look at this. This is the restart just a moment ago. Contact definitely made, and again, a masterful save by Derek Welch. Job well done. Meanwhile, though, the caution has come back out. Appears Chris Klein and Jason Steptoe involved in this one. 50 and the 51, respectively. Rear bumper panel missing from the 50 machine. Let's get a look at it. Step toe in the corner here. Just a little loose on exit. Comes down in front of Chris Klein. Contact is made. Both trucks coming to the inside of the racetrack here, making contact with that pit wall. Tell you, it's been a tough night for Chris Klein. So, more pit stops underway. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to count this as our comp caution or not. We are within 5 laps of the planned competition or planned stage break. Many times if it's close, they'll just count this as it. Again, this being our 5th caution. The first 5th of this race. Jones going 4 tires and fuel. Derek Welch going to do the same. Likely going to be the call up and down pit road here at this stage of the race. Close race off pit road. Jones. Rogers beats Will Hewitt off pit lane just barely. But again, with some varying strategies, Ingram, Griffith, Anderson, Eddie Rose, Peyton Wagoner now going to occupy the top 5. Top 4 drivers making a pit stop last just at lap 26, so really there was no point for them to come on down. Peyton Wagoner stayed out, hoping that some drivers would also pit in front of him and he could pick up a lap lead, but it wasn't meant to be. But 8's going to come down this time in pit. We are already on the 1 to go, so the front row here is going to be Ingram and Griffith to restart. Ingram in that yellow number 56 to the inside. I don't know if they're going to wave this off or not. We've still got half the field's got to get caught up. Maybe a third of the field. Going green, boys. Pace car is in. Ingram on the gas. He gets going.
Green flag.
Derek Welch out of shape off turn 2 in front of Mark Truxell. He saves it, keeps it going. Battle for the race lead, though. Ingram with pressure from the 54 of Griffith, side by side through 3 and 4. Ingram powers back out in front, gets clear. Griffith on the attack again. Ingram way up top, finding some grip on the high side of the racetrack, which is going to carry a little bit of momentum out of the corner, but it's not enough. Griffith alongside. They bang doors off turn number 2. Griffith's going to tuck back in behind, however. Ingram maintains the top spot. One truck slow again. It's the 50. That's Jason Steptoe. Did crash, but the caution does not come out. Steptoe's going to drive it to pit lane. Battle for the race lead continues as Will Jones back in the picture in 3rd spot with Will Hewitt right on the tailgate. Ingram, trouble off turn 2, gets into Griffith. Griffith pounds the inside wall. Caution is on the Speedway. Trouble for the race leader out of turn number 2, collecting multiple trucks. There's the 56 of Ingram. Effectively the first to have the issue out of turn 2. You see the 56 way up the track, and he gets out of the groove here. He can tell he's a little loose. Actually doesn't get the wall, but comes down, hits Griffith hard. Will Jones is going to get wrapped up in this as well. Will Hewitt taking evasive action to the bottom. Albert Anderson barely getting by. Ingram does a good job to keep it pinned to the wall there, almost getting collected again. Take another look at it from a different perspective. This from our drone cam. You see Jones open up the wheel a little bit early there to go up the racetrack. That was to his detriment. He didn't know this was about to happen. A lot of drivers checking up very hard for this incident. Good job by all to really avoid running everybody else over. While we got the chance, let's go back and see what happened here with the Jason Steptoe incident that did not come under caution. And Jason just gets in a little too hot, maybe a little bit too much rear brake. Again, he does have some damage to the back of that truck as well, so maybe a little less rear downforce. Backs it into the wall. Quickly gets it to the apron, though, and does not bring out a caution. So the reward for avoiding the crash for the 33 of Will Hewitt's going to be the race lead as we get ready to go back green next time by. It'll be lap 40 when we get back underway. Albert Anderson, great recovery for the 99 thus far. He's going to restart to the outside. And Anderson made his pit stop back at lap 26. About 5 laps prior to the race leader, Will Hewitt. Car is in. Will Hewitt going to bring him down to the line. Hammers the throttle. He's off and running. And here comes Rogers back to the inside of Albert Anderson for the second spot. They work out at turn number 2. Anderson and Rogers still battling for the second spot. Anderson to the outside, Rogers down low. Another battle at play here. Derek Welch alongside Thomas McMullen. Welch still to the inside. Remember, Derek had that incident earlier on where he was clipped and almost completely spun around, lost some track position, but he's back on the hunt, working inside the top 10, trying to take 5th from Thomas. Meanwhile, the battle behind them between David Bradford and Vincent Short. Alan DeFries is back in this. Remember, Alan had an incident coming to green, or actually the first lap, spun the truck a little bit, got him down pit lane, lost 3 laps, but with all these cautions, he's been able to get back on the lead lap and inside the top 10. So race not over for the 71. As the battle for position between Bradford and Vincent Short continues. Same for McMullen and Derek Welch. Three-wide battle down the front stretch here. Who's going to give into turn number 1? Mark Truxell way up the racetrack. Keenan Kimber in the 65. He's back in the middle with the 70. Steve Whitmore applying pressure on at turn number 2. Whitmore taking a look back to the bottom again. Truxell up the racetrack. we're going to have a battle for the lead, and it's on right now. Will Hewitt way up the racetrack. A.J. Rogers to the inside. I say way up the racetrack like it's a bad thing. It's by design. It's a little bit longer around, but you got more speed out of the corner when you run up there. Wasn't quite enough, though, as the 57 of Rogers takes back the top spot. Hewitt's going to maintain that lane still to the outside, looking around for a room to get back by, but it's not to be. Tucks in behind a Rogers, back to start finish, lap 44 in the books, and Rogers back to the point. Big gaggle of trucks back here, and here comes Will Jones. The 46 was taking a peek on Thomas McMullen. Does he make contact here? No, but he's awful close. First, I thought we were going 3 wide. Will thought better of it, but now he's to the inside of McMullen off turn number 4. This now for the 7th position. Jones now to the inside of Albert Anderson, quickly and efficiently taking that position away, runs right behind the 13 of David Bradford. Again, these drivers both with Bradford Aero Works as they work down the back straightaway yet again. Bradford runs 3rd, Jones 4th, Dominic Bettini in the 5th spot. Jones now on a mission back to the inside. David Bradford's going to tuck back in behind the 46, the number he used to run in a different time, now sporting the number 13 machine. Again, just want to remind you, Dominic Bettini in the 49 in timing and scoring, the 59 on the door. It's in short, Albert Anderson side by side. Here comes Scott Whitmore in this 70 alongside, drives it way deep into turns 3 and 4. Steve Whitmore, that is. Welch pulls up to the back bumper of Albert Anderson. Welch now in the 10th spot. Is falling a bit, a little loose off turn 4. He's really having to manhandle that truck. Loses ground to Thomas McMullen as well. Welch not giving up though. Now he switches lanes, goes to the outside of McMullen. Once again in 3 and 4, back to the throttle. McMullen trying to get back on the power, has to keep checking up. Can't keep the nose planted on that O2 machine. Further ahead though, Whitmore looking for more positions here to the inside of Vincent Short. Just like that, the 70 takes the spot. Short thinks about the crossover, not enough momentum to get it done. Meanwhile, Will Jones starting to put some distance between himself and David Bradford. Pressure being applied now to Will Hewitt for the 2nd spot. Hewitt up the racetrack. He's been running the higher side of the line, at least on this run so far. Not a whole lot of fight for the 33 here. He's going to lose that 2nd spot to Will Jones. Jones will set his sight on the 57 of Rogers and start to look a lot like it did at the very beginning of this race. Pit strategy had separated the top 2 as they run right now, but it's back to where we started, though Jones has some work to do to catch up to Rogers here. About a 2nd gap back to P2. Oh, Will Hewitt catches the wall off turn 4. Seen so many drivers do that here this afternoon. Just get out of the corner and pancake the right side, especially in turn 4. Almost seems a little tight on exit of 4, a little loose on exit of 2. Top 8 pretty well single file, but the battle continues from there on back. Keenan Kimmer in the 65, just getting clear of Albert Anderson. Chris Hockley in the 3, running 11th, and Thomas McMullen's going to jump to the inside for that position. Mark Truxell also way low on the racetrack, trying to take advantage of that battle. Trucks run side by side. They're not quite as fast as when they're in a single file line, trying to run the lane that they need to run just to be quick. Battling for position allows the guys that are behind you to get caught up, also allows the drivers in front to stretch out that lead. Truxell in the number 5, working on Thomas McMullen there. He's got a decently fast truck here tonight, just outside the top 10 right now. Thomas works on Albert Anderson. Mark Truxell drives it way deep into turns 3 and 4, almost too deep. A couple trucks get the wall off of 4 yet again. One of them losing connection, didn't catch who it was. I don't think I saw him pop back in. Truxell still not able to solve the riddle that is Thomas McMullen. Truxell running now 12th, McMullen 11th. Kimmer hits the wall off turn 4 and again loses connection. That's got to be a little daunting there for Thomas McMullen. In fact, let's ride on board with Thomas, see what he sees when that machine in front of him in 10th loses connection. It hasn't been super constant, but certainly been enough that's got Thomas paying a little extra attention there to the 65 just out ahead of him. At this distance, it's not that big of a deal, but if he gets right to the tailgate of that Mobil 1 Chevrolet and he loses connection and then comes back in, if Thomas fills the gap where that truck disappeared from and then all of a sudden it reappears, it can land right in your lap, figuratively. Almost guaranteed to result in a crash and subsequently a caution. So you got to kind of play that game. If it becomes a major issue, drivers will start barking about it and ask that driver either exit the session, fix the connection, or at least go to the back. 15 laps shy of halfway here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Meanwhile, out front, A.J. Rogers still well in command, but the deficit back to Will Jones is shrinking. It was over a second about 10 laps ago. Now about 3/4 of a second back to the 46. Still a ways away from worrying about fuel, but the caution is back out. Why that is, looks like Alan DeFries with another issue out on track off turn number 2.
When you're on track, right after that caution fell.
Let's look at it real quick here. Alan just toes back to pit lane. Alan all by himself here. I don't know. He looks like he almost had a hardware issue as well, because he got out of the corner, didn't take any kind of evasive action. He was by himself, and it just goes into the inside wall like the truck just kept turning. I've experienced it myself in instances where all of a sudden your wheelbase either comes disconnected or doesn't want to send the signal properly anymore, and it just sticks with the last steering wheel input that you had, and unfortunately in that case, you get out of the corner back on the straight and you keep turning, well, that's what happens. You're going to hit that inside wall. So caution on the Speedway for the 7th time tonight. 63 laps in the books. A.J. Rogers last came to pit lane, lap 31. I expect we'll see him this time, yes. Many others going to come with him. Will Jones, Whitmore, Hewitt, Bradford, Short, Bettini, Welch, Hockley, Kimber, McMullen, Truxell, Anderson, Longworth, Wagoner, Klein, Rose. Pretty much every lead lap truck going to come down and pit here. In fact, every lead lap truck. Josh Ingram still out there. Alan DeFries stationary on pit lane for now. So this is going to put everybody back on the same pit strategy here. 4 tires and fuel up and down pit lane for just about everybody. Albert Anderson stuck in pit lane a little longer than anticipated. I don't know if he caught a penalty here or if he's getting some repairs made. Chris Klein's going to get some damage repaired on his machine. Anderson still sits. Typical pit stop, about 15 seconds. This one, 38.27 for Anderson, not penalty based. Looks like he was getting some repairs made to it. Pace car lights are out, so next time by, we'll be back under the green flag. So remind everybody next week, next Sunday in the evening, same time, same channel, except it'll say Track Limits Network instead. ProSim Racing Alliance at Bristol Motor Speedway. Headed to the last great Coliseum. We'll see how these trucks handled a very short half mile. Pace car is in.
Green, green, green.
Green flag in the air. Will Jones, a little too much racetrack on exit. He gets the wall as well. I think Steve Whitmore did as well. Oh, trouble out of turn 2. Welch is around. Don't know if he had help. Another truck as well. It's the 8.
Caution.
Peyton Wagoner and Derek Welch. Trouble off turn number 2. Watch what happens here with the 1 first, and then we'll check out the number 8 machine's problems. And this is the middle of 1 and 2 here. Derek just losing on his own. There's kind of some transitional banking changes there between 1 and 2. Upsets the truck just a bit. Likely cold tires as well. Around he goes. Doesn't hit anything. Now the 8's issue might have been just a reaction trying to check up here. Maybe got run over, but we're going to find out. Let's take a look. We got Klein, Wagoner, and Steptoe in a line here. Again, Welch is already spinning in front of these guys. And hard to say exactly. Doesn't look like Wagoner got on the brakes real hard, but he got loose on exit. And also, luckily, doesn't get collected or doesn't hit the wall at all. So likely a quick caution here. Some drivers are going to hit pit lane. Derek Welch, Frank Griffin. Welch really not a lot to lose here in his case. Might lose a couple of spots, but that's it. Might as well come down and top off fuel yet again, get some more tires, and just drag them across the speedway. You might as well change them out if you got unlimited sets. Does seem like the setup on these trucks here tonight, again, it's a fixed setup, but it's a custom fixed setup that they set up for these drivers, trying to promote really good racing, and typically it does seem to produce that. Of course, you're going to get a couple of guys that just nail it right off the bat. We've seen that with Rogers and Jones here tonight. But it does seem that that setup is a little bit loose at the beginning, builds a little bit tight, gets a little more friendly, I guess, to drive as the run progresses. But you got to get through that run before it starts to happen. You got to build the tire temperatures, tire pressures need to come up. Setups are designed optimally to run in the middle of that run. Not so much at the beginning, not so much at the end. So as we said, Welch didn't lose a whole lot there making that pit stop, so might as well do it. We're back, ready for another restart. The restart will be lap 71 when they cross the stripe. Front row is going to be Rogers and Will Jones. It's been a common theme here tonight. Rogers still to the inside, the number 57 Apex Sim Racing machine.
Green flag.
Green back in the air. Side by side for the race lead here down through turns 1 and 2. Rogers to the bottom, Will Jones to the outside. Whitmore and Hewitt third and fourth in behind. Jones going the long way around, but the caution is out again. Derek Welch, Eddie Rose in trouble. It's been a tough afternoon for the one for sure. Let's try to get a look, see how this one started. Wagoner goes up into the 88, turns him down in front of Wagoner and Welch. Of course, both drivers going to spin down through the grass, entering turn 3. Now, Eddie, we saw it briefly. Got into the wall off turn number 2, but kept it pinned right there, just about an inch off the safer barrier. Was giving plenty of room to drivers left. Wagoner made a move to the inside, but then made contact with Eddie Rose, which is what sent him down in front of Derek Welch. So pit stops underway yet again for a handful of drivers. Kimber, Klein, Bradford, Wagoner, Longworth. I think Bradford's kind of working the same mindset here. He's far enough back in the pack right now that let's come down, take some tires, and see what we can do. We're just shy of halfway. You got to remember, in that incident with Ingram earlier on, Will Jones was a part of that. Sustained a little bit of damage, was able to get that fixed, and as it sits right now, as that caution came out, Jones is the leader. Now we'll have to see if Rogers can retake it. Work around the outside of the 46.
Green flag, green flag, green
Green
flag.
back in the air. Will Jones on the power quickly. Gets a truck length plus out ahead of the 57 of Rogers. Now to the inside, Steve Whitmore taking a peek, but nothing doing there. Rogers gets through 1 and 2 pretty clean. Whitmore taking a peek yet again, but again, nothing doing. Now has to worry about the 33 of Will Hewitt to his outside. The 65 of Kimber off the track into the inside wall. Kimber with parts flying off the truck. Pretty significant impact. Stays under yellow or under green, however. Oh, a little loose now. Bent something in the rear suspension, possibly. Does he stay out on the track? He's going to. Trying to assess the damage on that truck by taking one more lap, but it's pretty well hammered at this point. Left front fender missing.
Caution.
And caution now is Griffith in trouble off turn number 2.
Real quick.
So we saw the Kimber incident off turn 2. Let's take a look at this one with Frank Griffith. Griffith in the 54, behind the 3-wide battle here. Griffith just too low on the track here. Gets the truck upset under power on exit. Overcorrects, goes up into the outside wall. Klein has to avoid. And then Keenan Kimber as well. Likely what's putting us under the caution is those two trucks that were in behind the 54 at the time of that crash. "77 laps in, caution number 10. So front row, when we get the restart, it'll be Jones and Rogers again. Lap 80 will go up on the board. Pace car is in.
Green flag.
Will Jones gets out in front. Real loose out of 2 is A.J. Rogers, and the battle is on for 3rd. Will Hewitt doing a good job holding off Steve Whitmore, at least for the time being. Whitmore jumps to the inside in turn number 3, slips up the racetrack, stays tucked into the tailgate of the 33. Battle continues for the 3rd spot. Hewitt's got it for now. Whitmore pressing. Top 10 starting to get settled out single file, just willing to get out there and run some laps, build those tire temperatures and air pressures, but the caution comes out again. Another truck in the wall. It's Albert Anderson. Not 100% sure Anderson was the cause for the caution, though there is some left rear damage to the 99. Let's see if we can figure this one out. Wagoner just drives him to back. Sends Albert up the track into the wall in turn 1. A closer view on this one. Wagoner just driving it way deeper into the corner than Albert Anderson's willing to, at least that lap. Sends the 99 up the track. Pace car light still on, so one more time. We should get the one to go across start finish the next time by. Sets us up for a restart at lap 86. Kimber still having issues with the connection, blinking out quite a bit as he passes the field, trying to get the wave around here. He'll get caught up to the tail end. So there we go. Pace car lights have gone out. Let's try this again. Wrapping up caution number 11.
Green flag.
Will Hewitt, good restart for the 33. He jumps to the inside into turn number 1. Alongside A.J. Rogers. Can he make it stick? Rogers up top in the 57. Exiting turn number 2. Do they get through clean this time? A little washed up there for the 59. Keeps it going straight. Behind Will Hewitt, Whitmore battling with Thomas McMullen. Thomas looking to the inside, has to settle the tuck back in behind. And behind McMullen, you got Dominic Bettini and Chris Hockley battling for position. David Bradford, Vincent Short in behind there, side by side as well. Ford truck battle as they work down into turns 1 and 2. Short now grabbing third gear in the middle of the corners as well, so shifting a thing here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. truck at the wall. The 59 of Bettini hits the wall. Caution number 12 up on the board. Dominic Bettini having a problem. We heard it in the background, and then in that rear view camera, we saw him up in the fence. Let's see what happened here to the 49-59. That's why we heard it. We were riding on board with Vincent Short. Short's the one that gets into the left rear of Bettini, sends him up the racetrack into the safer barrier. So with that, we're going to step aside. We're going to try and get a side-by-side break, but we haven't really had a long enough run to do it, so we're going to take a standard caution break here. We'll be back after this. Stay with us.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
In New Hampshire, green flag is back in the air. Will Jones and A.J. Rogers 1 and 2. Will Hewitt still running third, but wants more. Thomas McMullen fourth, and Hockley runs fifth. Battle for position here. Mark Truxell alongside Peyton Wagoner in the 8. Ingram real loose out of turn 2, keeps it straight. 42 of Aaron Longworth having a connection issue behind David Bradford as well. Truxell real loose in the middle of the corner also. Bradford alongside the 8 of Wagoner on a turn 2, slides up the track. Bradford's going to get in the inside wall after contact with the 8. The green stays out. Will we get a caution? No. I have to look at that one again here quickly. Bradford was battling with the 8. I don't know if the 8 got loose and came down or if Bradford thought he had more space. A little bit of both, it seems. Wagoner came down the track just a hair, but it seemed like Bradford was coming up a lot faster. Nevertheless, the results are the same. Bradford gets the inside wall off turn number 2. Bradford stays out. The amount of cautions that we've had, he's going to try and limp it around and cross his fingers, catch another one here, try to get these repairs made without going down a lap. It's going to be tough. Will Jones down the backstretch right now. He's got about a half lap before he catches the 13. Meanwhile, we got a battle for the second spot. Will Hewitt, A.J. Rogers. Hewitt around the outside? No. Rogers is going to drive it back to the inside, but still not quite clear of the 33. And Rogers gets clear yet again, hanging out of that second position. Will Hewitt's quick right now. In fact, last lap he was almost a full tenth faster than A.J. Rogers. I think if he was able to get clear of the 57, he might be able to run down Will Jones. At least he'd be able to put some distance on the 57, but catching a guy is one thing, passing is another. Meanwhile, these two continue to fight it out for that second spot. Will Jones stretching his lead to 1.1, almost 1.2 as they come to the stripe. Lap 100 to go up on the board, 51 remain. So Will Jones back to start finish, 50 laps to go. David Bradford just out of turn number 2, so he's a little off the pace after that incident, but still hanging on to the tail of the lead lap for now. Looking at lap times, Bradford's last trip around the circuit, 33.19. The race leader, Will Jones, a 31.69. Bradford's going to need some luck here in relative short order if he's going to maintain the lead lap. Further back here now in the 5th spot, Chris Hockley was just taking a peek behind Thomas McMullen. Vincent Short still running in the 6th spot, battling with the 42 of Longworth. Longworth real loose off turn 2. Short utilizing a very different line than we're seeing out of most of these drivers, clipping the apron there in the middle of 1 and 2. That's an old school way of getting around this place. Vincent yet again here. We'll see mid-corner. I think he ducks it down to the apron of the racetrack. I know it's flatter down there, but he might be able to find some grip. Right on exit. Not so much on the apex, but the exit at turn 2. Clips that apron, trying to get the truck to turn a little better. Certainly not costing him any time. He's still right there in the hunt, in behind the 3 of Hockley. Hockley making a move here on Thomas McMullen. This would be for the 4th spot. Now Short's going to take advantage. Vincent gets to the inside of Thomas McMullen. Thomas going to battle back around the outside, but doesn't quite have the power to get it done. Short completes the pass, moves to 15 up into the top 5. Rogers still with the race lead. Will Jones still with the race lead. Rogers runs second. Rogers has now put some distance between himself and Will Hewitt. Will may have burned up those tires a bit trying to either keep pace or just complete that pass on the 57. Short now. Marching forward, takes the 4th spot from Hockley. Hockley tries to cross over, gets to the bottom off turn number 2. Will Hewitt with a moment out of turn 2 as well. He keeps the truck straight now down the back straightaway. We'll talk about some guys that haven't given up here tonight. Derek Welch, one of them. Welch had a strong qualifying run here tonight. Been involved in a few incidents, though, but just won't go away. Still running within the top 10, up in the 8th spot. Currently running about 2-3 tenths faster than the next truck in line. That's the 02 of Thomas McMullen. We got John Woods in the chat looking for Mark Truxell. If you look at the timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen, Mark Truxell currently in the 10th position, having a solid run in that number 5 Little Tate's Cupcakes machine. There he is. It's one thing we've known and seen with Mark Truxell over the years. Never want to count him out. He's usually quite good about taking care of the truck, getting out of it what it's capable of. Not overdoing it, not wadding it up. Started 10th here today and runs 10th, so prime example of that. Always ends up in the hunt for these things at the end of the season, so keep a close eye on that 5 as the season continues on. Will Hewitt off the wall again. Don't know if he got an actual piece of it that time, but it was awful close as Vincent Short continues to march forward, now pressing for that 3rd spot. So as you see, Short has occupied now the third position and continues to work his way forward. I don't know if Vince just took a good time and taken care of his tires, or he's just saving a bit here, waiting for later on in the run, as he does scrape the wall off turn number 2. But Will Hewitt continues to drop positions now as Whitmore gets to the inside. Steve may have something here for Vincent Short before too long. I'm pretty sure we're going to need to make another pit stop, though, before this one's all over. Again, the fuel window expected to be between 70 and 80 laps. This is, I believe, our longest green flag run of the afternoon, knock on wood. Haven't really seen an example of how far that they can really make it. No one's been able to run a tank dry as of yet, but so far so good. Everybody minding their P's and Q's now. Meanwhile, Derek Welch continues to march forward as well. He's up into P6 as he gets clear of Chris Hockley. Will Jones is still out front, but the deficit has shrunk considerably. In fact, we got a battle for the lead. Jones still out in front, but Rogers has reeled in and caught the 46. It's one thing to reel him in. It's one thing to catch him. It's another to get him in the boat. Rogers to the inside for the race lead. Can he get it done? Will Jones way up the racetrack, really out of the groove right now. Gives up the top spot. Rogers will take over the race lead out of turn number 2. Meanwhile, Bradford has since gone to the pits for repairs. Still sits in the pit lane, likely to be out of this one. So 2 heavy hitters out of this one here this afternoon. Bobby Hamilton Jr. with an unknown issue, and then David Bradford, of course, an incident out of turn 2 that damaged his truck beyond repair. The race lead has changed hands. A.J. Rogers back out in front. Been so dominant here today. If you joined us late, you might think the same about the 46 of Will Jones, because he spent the majority of that time out front on this run. But as we get near the end of the run, tires getting old, tires getting hot. Jones has fallen off just a bit as Rogers has retaken over the race lead. Last lap, about a tenth and a half faster for A.J. Rogers. With that said, drivers in 3rd and 4th, Vincent Short and Steve Whitmer, they're both running faster than the top 2 right now. Again, Rogers with a 32.58 the last lap, Short with a 32.43, and Whitmore with a 41. So now the question is, when do these drivers opt to pit? Are they all gun shy with the cautions that we had early on with this long green flag run? Drivers don't want to risk it to come down and pit, lose the lap, and then the caution just comes out after the fact. Then you're in trouble. Then you got to rely on yet another caution if you're lucky enough to be in position to get that lucky dog. If you're willing to bet, many of these drivers may opt to run their tanks almost dry before they come to pit lane, effectively forcing that pit stop under the green flag. Last lap for Vincent Short in 3rd, fastest among the top 10. 3.5 tenths quicker than the race leader. Short, able to put some distance between himself and Whitmore. Top 3 trucks all within about 1.6 seconds of each other, and that number shrinking lap by lap. Vincent Short continues to click off quick laps, still a tenth and a half quicker than the race leader. Before we get to the pit stops, let's take a look at the running order here. A.J. Rogers, current race leader. Then it's Will Jones in the second spot. Vincent Short running third. Steve Whitmore in the 70, running in the fourth spot. Derek Welch quietly working his way back through, wants to be a contender before this one's out. He runs fifth. Hockley in the sixth spot. Will Hewitt still struggling with the rear end of that truck, running in the seventh position. Thomas McMullen right there in eighth. Mark Truxell up to the ninth spot. Some of these drivers are noticing this change of racing line. They're starting to pick up that low line, that apron line, so to speak, is becoming effective, not just in turns 1 and 2, but also the exit of 4. Sir Chris Klein running in the 10th spot. Klein's had his share of struggles early on in this race, but still solidly in the top 10. Aaron Longworth, 11th. Albert Anderson running in the 12th spot. Dominic Bettini after his issue in 13th. Peyton Wagoner in 14th in the number 8 machine. 15th is Joshua Ingram. Again, he's had an incident today as well while leading. And last truck on the lead lap, the 88 of Eddie Rose in the 16th spot. So 25 laps to go from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. When will this final round of pit stops come? Or will it? Meanwhile, Vincent Short has reeled in Will Jones. Truck length and a half between second and third. Short, 10th faster that lap as well. On board with Will Jones. Short's got all 4 tires below the line there on the exit of turn 2, and he makes it work. Gets alongside Will Jones and takes the second spot away. So Vincent Short up into P2 here with 23 to go. Top 5 pretty well strung out now. Again, the question remains is when do these pit stops get underway, or do they? Last pit stops for top 3 drivers at least came at lap 63. We talked 70 to 80 laps was the distance on fuel, the expectation at least. Haven't really had an example of it just yet, but we look at 4th and 5th place, Steve Whitmore, Derek Welch. They're working their way through the field, but if we stay green, they should be able to make it to the end. They both came down at lap 89 for tires and fuel. So that should put them in the window to not have to pit again. Checking out some more battles throughout the pack here. McMullen and Truxell side by side for position. This would be for 7th. Big wiggle for McMullen out of 2. Slaps the wall down the backstretch. That's going to slow him enough to maybe open the door for Truxell. So it looks like the 5 is going to take over the 7th spot. It's Thomas McMullen with a moment out of 2. Costs him some ground. Meanwhile, Will Hewitt, who was so strong early, has slipped back to the 10th spot. Albert Anderson still with his hands full out of turn 2. Back of the truck continues to step out on exit. A.J. Rogers still at the front of the field, an 0.8 of a second advantage over Vincent Short. Still looking at lap times here. Let's see if we can get that pulled up here, get a look at it. Rogers and Short, there's their lap times between the two, and then the differential in pace. That time by Rogers was a bit quicker by almost a full 10th. I wonder if Vince had a moment there because he was within 0.7. Now it's just over a full second, 16 to go. Again, we have had some cautions that are going to break up this fuel window, so it's still going to be a question mark as to whether or not these drivers need to pit. But this might be the answer for it right now, is Will Jones heading down pit lane right now here with 15 laps to go. We'll see if this is a fuel-only stop or is he going to take tires as well. Again, only 15 laps remain. He's going to likely lose a lap here for sure. Right side tire change at a minimum here for the 46. I can't imagine he's going to go rights only, but if anybody can, it'd be Will Jones. Yep, right sides only. The 46 down and away. Fuel and right side tires for Will Jones. Meanwhile, back out front, the deficit growing for Vincent Short. A.J. Rogers with the lead, putting 1.5 back to the 15. Though Vince, last lap, still almost 0.5 faster. Now Rogers is encountering some lap traffic as well, which means Vince will eventually have to deal with that also. But right now, Vincent Short in a good position, running in second. And right now, Whitmore in third. The only driver we're sure can make it to the finish without having to stop if we stay green. We know Will Jones had to come down and pit. He took rights and fuel. Jones and Rogers pit last at the same time. It was about lap 63. So my guess is either they cannot make it, or Jones was just trying to work some strategies. The 50's out of shape big time, but keeps it straight. Jason Steptoe, very scary moment there out of turn 2, but keeps it going down the racetrack without issue. Short continuing to fall off now. It's 2 full seconds. Short might be in the same boat here. Lap 63 was the pit stop. Maybe he's just trying to save some fuel at this point. Steptoe actually gained some ground on Short there on corner exit. That very well could be the case there. Vince might be saving, though he does have older tires than Steptoe. Let's ride on board with Vince and listen, see if he's doing any kind of lifting and coasting, which typically you would hear if you're trying to save. Oh, and he's still grabbing third gear. 10 to go. Rogers still out in front. Will Jones running back in the 15th spot. He's the first truck a lap down, so if the caution comes out, he would get the lucky dog. One car off the course down the back straightaway. That's the one of Derek Welch. Welch in trouble again. Frustrating afternoon, just getting worse for the driver of the number 1 Davidson Builders Toyota. Loose again in the middle of 3 and 4, and he saves it. Welch is going to come here and pit. Let's take a quick look what happened to Welch on a turn number 2 a moment ago. Eddie Rose up the racetrack out of the groove. Is there contact here? Yes, there is. Eddie had a moment in the middle of 1 and 2 there, had more room to his right side, and Welch expected it to be there for him, but it just wasn't. Welch gets into the 88 on exit, and that's the end result. 7 laps to go. A.J. Rogers still out on track. Does he have enough fuel? Doing some quick calculations here. Rogers might be able... No, there's a caution, so forget it. Forget I said a word. Caution on the Speedway. Derek Welch appears to be involved in this one yet again. And he's back in the pits. Let me see what happened here. This might have been on exit. Just a moment ago. I think him stopping on the track, it's not even in the groove, but it still triggered a caution there. It seems a little sensitive if you ask me. Make sure that's not the same issue we've seen here. We've seen that a bit here tonight too. There's transitional banking there. You see in the bottom groove, it's a little flatter than that groove that's just above it. Kind of upsets the balance of the truck, especially if you've gotten into the wall. That can become problematic. But final pit stops underway. Race leaders all coming down. Rogers, Short, Whitmore. Truxell stays out. So Welch leaves the session. He's officially out of this race. Pit crew already packed up and left. 4 tires and fuel for A.J. Rogers. He is down and away, just ahead of Whitmore. So Mark Truxell and Vincent Short have stayed out on the racetrack. Or they haven't. Short went fuel only, it looks like. So Short's going to inherit the top spot here. So it's going to be him and Mark Truxell out in front here coming to the restart. I don't know if this is going to put us in overtime or not. So 3 to go. We should get the 1 to go next time. So, ooh, boy. We could get the green and the white at the same time. Be a 1-lap shootout. Maybe not a terrible strategy for the front 2 trucks. But keep in mind, if we get another yellow, we still have official green-white checkers to deal with, up to 3 if we need them. Base car lights are out. No, we're going to go restart this time by. So it'll be green flag as we cross the stripe, white flag after, and then checker. So we're getting a green-white checkered, but it's a natural green-white checkered. This one does not count towards the allotment of 3. We're still in regulation, so if the yellow comes out, we'll line them back up and do it again. Base car is in. Will this be the final restart?
Green
Coming to the
flag.
stripe. Truxell leads him to green, hammers down the throttle, and he's off and running. Shallow entry for the 5 into turn number 1. Will it stick? Rogers goes up the cut through the middle. Can he make it go? No, he's still right behind Vincent Short. Makes contact with the 15 and around Vince goes. Caution out. Chris Klein hammers the outside wall. 2 more hit the inside wall on corner exit. Wow. Albert Anderson, the hood flapping up in front of his face. That's hard to drive. So that'll send us to our first green-white checkered, our first official green-white checkered. Let's get a look. Caution number 14. Mark Truxell still out in front. Pace car lights have gone out, so first attempt. An overtime finish here. Truxell will be the control truck. AJ Rogers will be to the outside. AJ did make a pit stop on the previous caution. Took tires. And of course, fuel. Should have plenty of grip to get it done, to get around Mark Truxell. Nothing against Mark, but he's got old tires. He pit last at lap 83. Took a gamble to try and win this thing. Car is in.
Ready, green, 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 green.
Truxell on the jump, down to 1. Whitmore takes a peek to the outside, so does Rogers. Whitmore has to tuck back in, a little bit of contact into the back of the 5. The 33 of Will Hewitt goes around and the caution is out again.
How's the driver there, homie?
Vincent Short involved again as well. Caution number 15. So it appeared to start with the 33. There was multiple trucks involved here, but let's try and unpack what really happened here. Big checkup from Whitmore, and it forces a reaction to Will Hewitt to go up the racetrack. Gets into Thomas McMullen, and everybody kind of scatters. Hewitt gets Will Jones here, sends him up the track, and then everybody else is really just driving in, getting collected in this. Vincent Short having his own issue. I don't know if that was self-induced. Yeah, just got loose. Again, we saw this a lot early on in the race with newer tires, low air pressure. Very easy to get these trucks to step out. They just finished up a very long run where they started to get a little tight. Tires were worn out. Pressures were where they needed to be. You kind of get into that lull, into that rhythm. And you bolt on 4 fresh tires, and it completely changes the balance of the truck. It's something that everybody's got to be prepared for. But now with that, it's going to be Rogers and Hockley on the front row. This will be our second attempt. So we're ready for our second attempt here. Pace car lights are out, so this time by we'll be back to the green flag. Second attempt. And looks like everybody in the top 5 all pit at the same time. The exception there, Aaron Longworth did make the pit stop at 146, but looks like he went fuel only. So the 42
Green flag.
will be a little bit slower by comparison. Green flag back in the air. Rogers with a good restart. Truck length and a half plus. Back to Hockley. Hockley and Whitmore side by side. Thomas McMullen back in the fray. He runs fourth in the 0-2, and the caution's out again.
Caution.
Peyton Wagoner is around, and Vincent Short collects them as well as others.
What's going on again?
Bettini gets loose. That's what triggers the caution. But then so does Wagoner. Truxell gets through, but Vincent Short's going to nail the 8 in the left front hard. With that, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back after this.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Green flag.
Second attempt at a green-white checker is on. Green flag in the air. Rogers gets away, but not by much. Hockley right there. Rogers has the advantage into turns 1 and 2. Now Whitmore looking to the inside for second. Hockley hangs on to the position for now. Whitmore drives it way deep into 3 and 4 yet again. Off turn number 4, coming to the white flag. It waves. Final lap from New Hampshire. One car spinning out of turn number 4. We stay green for the time being. Trouble off the turn number 2. Rogers goes around. There was an issue for the 57. Hockley takes over the top spot. Now the battle is on for the win. We thought it was going to be second or third. McMullen there, a truck length off the back bumper. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. Coming to the checkered flag. Who's going to win it? It's going to be Hockley. Hockley wins it at New Hampshire. Wow. Dominant truck for the 57 of Rogers. Wasn't meant to be. Trying to get the replay of it, see exactly what happened here. Seemed like the 57 slowed out of turn 2. Slowed considerably. Maybe he didn't fill it enough. But the beneficiary is the 3 of Chris Hockley. What a turn of events. That's going to be my guess there, is that Rogers short-filled the truck on that final pit stop. Trying to save time in the pits, not anticipating the additional green-white checkers. That's the only thing I can think of, that or a mechanical issue on his end. But nonetheless, Chris Hockley takes the checkered flag and wins it in a wild one here at New Hampshire. We're going to step out here real quick, take a short break. We'll be back with our top 3 after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a wild one in the books here from Loudon. Let's talk to our race winner, the driver, the number 3. May have been the first laps he led all day long. Let's get him in the broadcast booth here. Chris Hockley, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Chris, walk us through that. We know A.J. Rogers was the class of the field all afternoon, and I know we had a bunch of cautions to deal with. Seemed like everybody was good to go there on that last pit stop at 146, but we saw the 57 slow out of turn number 2, and everything went to hell in a handbasket. How did it look out the front of your machine?
Yeah, we were all excited. All the Ford guys were up there, top 3, and AJ ran out of gas coming out of 2. Meanwhile, I'm on the outside. I got a little loose and came down into Steve and took those 2 guys out. I feel bad about that, but we were able to get the win.
Now, you getting loose out of 2 there, was there any issue as far as trying to avoid the 57 in that respect, or was it just how the truck was handling on fresher tires?
No, he was out of the way. I just got on the gas a little bit too hard and spun the tires.
Well, either way, you started 19th here tonight. Not the greatest qualifying run, but a strong run to wrap this up. You take the checkered flag here at Loudon. Walk us through the race itself. What was it like trying to work your way through the field, trying to manage all of those cautions? Obviously, unlimited tires, certainly not an issue as far as deciding when to change those, but how did you work your way up through the field?
I was just taking it easy there. I didn't get any practice at all through the week. I ran probably the last 15 minutes of the practice before qualifying, and then I didn't qualify. I just started in the back. Just getting my feelings with the track and all that, and avoiding all the spins and stuff, and just worked up through there, and here we are.
Well, it certainly worked out in the end. First to cross the finish first. Job well done. We look forward to Bristol Motor Speedway a week from tonight. What's the mindset going into the High Bank short track out in Bristol next week?
Oh man, I don't know if you can have a plan. Just avoid all the chaos.
Well, that's a plan in itself. Chris, congratulations again, taking the win here at Loudon. Who do you want to shout out to before I let you go?
I got to give a shout out to my sponsor, Jiffy Lube of Mechanicsburg and Camp Hill, PA, and Steve. He's a great guy, helped me out a lot. And this win's for Bobby Hamilton Jr. Racing. It should be AJ here. He was class of the field, but here we are.
Take it however you can get it, Chris. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you. Thanks for the broadcast.
Yes, sir. Chris Hockley, your race winner here at New Hampshire. Next, we're going to talk to the driver of the 0-2 machine. That's Thomas McMullen, the Saints of Speed's entry. See if we can get a word with our runner-up. Thomas, it's Steve in the booth. Long time no talk. How you doing, man?
Hey, Steve, what's going on? Good to hear from you.
You too, bud. Congratulations. A second-place run. Started 14th tonight. Seemed to be a top 10 truck most of the evening, but things kind of came together there at the end and some excitement there off turn 2 on the final lap. How did it look out the windshield of your truck?
Oh, man. Super unexpected. I knew that everyone was going to be charging hard to get into the 1 and 2 on that last lap, and I think the leader ran out of gas or something, and it just piled up in front of me, and all of a sudden I found myself sitting behind a leader. I drove it in real deep into 3 and just kind of came a little bit short, but I tell you that this feels like a win.
Yeah, it certainly seemed to be the case, too, about the 57. Everybody made their pit stops there, at least around that 146 mark. May have not put enough in it to make it to the end as that truck slowed out at turn number 2. But second place, a strong run. Congratulations. We look forward to Bristol next week. Certainly going to be chaotic there as well. What's the game plan rolling into the short track?
Probably the same as this week. This was just kind of a race of attrition. I didn't think it was going to be. Going into next week, it definitely will be. So probably just kind of laying back, trying to keep the nose on this thing and try to be there at the end.
Well, fair enough. Thomas, again, congratulations. Second place finish here at New Hampshire. Who do you want to thank before I let you go?
Will Hewitt for having me on board his team, and Saints of Speed for being on the truck, and yourself for broadcasting the race, the whole league for putting on a good show.
All right, Thomas. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week at Bristol.
Thank you, buddy.
It's Thomas McMullen, your runner-up here at New Hampshire. Next, we're going to talk to Aaron Longworth. Uh-oh, we lost everything. That's okay. The race is over. We'll talk to Aaron, the driver of the number 42. Had his struggles earlier on in the race, put the truck in the wall, but didn't quit. And here he is in the third place at the end of this thing. Aaron, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations. A third place finish here at New Hampshire. We got this one done. It took us some time, but it happened. You finished third there. A 13th place starting position, so it seems like this top 3 all came from outside the top 10. What was your strategy working your way through the field and kind of getting out of all those cautions here tonight?
Didn't really get much practice throughout the week, so just had to take what we got. Followed some guys on the track, sort of followed into what they were doing and learned off them, and was able to avoid the cautions and wound up P3.
Well, a job well done. Again, it's proof that you don't quit. Even though you might be in a wreck early on, you stick with it. Third place finish, strong run. Looking forward to Bristol next week. I know we're going to run into some cautions there. That's just the nature of the beast of that place. But how do you set up your mind to get ready for that fast half mile at Bristol?
Just put in the work, and hopefully we can avoid the wrecks.
Well, fair enough, Aaron. Congrats yet again. Is there anyone you want to shout out to before I let you go?
Shout out to my teammates, Rodney Roberts, Peyton Wagner, and Keenan Kimber. Hopefully they have better runs at Bristol next week, and shout out to everybody watching.
All right, Aaron. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you, sir.
It's Aaron Longworth, third place finisher here at New Hampshire. That's going to wrap up the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Let's take a look at the race results. Of course, we talked to Chris Hockley, Thomas McMullen, and Aaron Longworth, and, well, that's interesting. Well, I'm going to have to do it manually here. It's not going to pop up for some reason. Chris Hockley was your race winner. Thomas McMullen finished in the second spot. Third was Aaron Longworth. Mark Truxell finished in the fourth position. Fifth place was Dominic Bettini. Will Hewitt was sixth. Seventh went to Vincent Short. Eighth was Steve Whitmore. Ninth goes to Eddie Rose. 10th place was A.J. Rogers. 11th was Josh Ingram. 12th went to Peyton Wagoner. Jason Steptoe, 13th. 14th place was Albert Anderson. Will Jones, 15th. 16th, Chris Klein. Derek Welch was 17th. Keenan Kimber was 18th. 19th place was David Bradford. 20th went to Frank Griffith. Alan DeFries, 21st. 22nd, Bobby Hamilton Jr. out of this one early for reasons still unknown. Rodney Roberts, 23rd. And last but not least was the number 55 of Matt Nicholson, finishing in the 24th spot. And thank you guys all for tuning in here tonight. Appreciate the attendance and the viewership. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit the thumbs up on the stream. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. We're trying to get to that 1,000 follower number. I know we're running out of time here, only a few days left of 2024. We'll get it in the first quarter, I'm sure, but if you haven't done it, go ahead and do it and tell your friends. We certainly do appreciate that. That's going to wrap it up for us here at HBR TV, our final broadcast under the HBR TV banner. We'll be back next week with Track Limits Network here at the same place, same channel. You know where to find us. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night.